self-care is not selfish. It's actually the biggest part of showing love that you could offer to your family, your friends, and your community.
As women, we nurture and take care of the world. And so it's just so important to make your health, your self-care numero uno. So
get around people who are going where you want to go and who are where you want to be. And that's exactly what I did. I wanted to be in real estate, so I got around people who were doing things in real estate that I wanted to do.
So you might not be able to move things around or change what happened to you, but if you can change the way that you see it and how you're reacting to it, there's a way.
Just do what you have to do. There's no excuse. This morning, I knew that if I didn't get up at 4 a.m. and clear out my emails and do everything that I needed to do.
You don't want the government to dictate or a judge to dictate how your hard-earned sacrifice and wealth gets distributed to your family and your loved ones.
Our culture is embedded in American culture. There are people who come to America and engage in American culture, which is Black culture. So Juneteenth is really about Black culture, and it's about celebrating us, celebrating the different diasporas of Black people, even the dialects.
You need a full-time job for health insurance is actually a myth. As a travel nurse in New York, I used to get so stressed out about health insurance in between contracts until I found out about New York State of Health. They make it easier, more affordable, and are a trusted resource to accessing and managing your health insurance. And what's great is that there's a plan for everyone. And enrollment assisters and brokers are here to help online, by phone, or even help in person. So check out New York State of Health to learn more and stay up to date on your health insurance needs.
So it's no secret that New York City is the best place to be an entrepreneur, but when I had to figure out my own health insurance for the very first time, I was scared. I live with MS, which means taking care of my health is already something that I manage every single day, so navigating insurance on my own felt very overwhelming. What helped was learning about New York State of Health, which is the official health plan marketplace for New York State, where New Yorkers can shop for and enroll in health insurance, compare options, and get free help from real enrollment assisters or brokers online, by phone, or in person. If you're self-employed, starting out, or just figuring things out, there is a plan for all New Yorkers and support to help you through it.
Life changes and so can your health plan. New York State of Health is New York's official health plan marketplace and is where I go to check my coverage and make sure it still fits my family's needs. Plans, benefits, and eligibility can change, so it's important to stay up to date. Be sure to keep your contact information updated in your account so New York State of Health knows how to reach you. Visit newyorkstateofhealth.ny.gov to stay connected and stay covered.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining. My name is Athenia Rodney, CEO and founder of Juneteenth NYC. And today is another day of Juneteenth Lunch and Learns. So we are excited to be with you on today. Today is T-minus 16 days to kick off to our festival day, the thing that we spend all year planning. So the day actually comes to fruition in 16 more days. It's like, I feel like, so I have 3 kids, and every time you're like in this last phase, it's like these last 2 weeks, it's like those birthing pains. You're like, oh my gosh, you can't wait for it to be over and to see the fruit on the other side. And then you're like, so that kind of nervousness, happy, excitedness, like that's the space that I'm in right now. So I am grateful for you all joining us on today. We have a very special guest like we do every week, but this week is a special week who we will have in space. So just to tell you a little bit about Juneteenth before we even go into things, because as we are in June, there are a couple of things that I always like to highlight because people get it wrong. And maybe I'll ask our guest this. I'm not gonna say nothing yet. I'm gonna ask our guest. I'm gonna see if they get it right first. But not to shame anyone, because this is something that is like literally all over the United States has not been happening correctly. But Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom. We utilize Juneteenth as a space to be able to share history in a fun, entertaining, but very educational and empowering way, right? Because for generations, our community has been told who we are. We have been told who we're not. And we have been restricted from resources to our community. And our organization, Juneteenth NYC, has been in place to help to cover those gaps, to help cover gaps economically where it comes to organizations, exposure-wise, even being able to talk back where it comes to media, where media is not showing up correctly for us in our communities. So I always say that we are helping to retell the story. No, we're not lazy. No, we are not all poor. No, we are not all negative or violent and all of the things that you think or you hear. It is a microcosm, very small, actual point of who we are as a community. If you just took any microcosm of any culture, you will see that there are greats and there are not so greats. And it just so happens that our not so greats are the things that get highlighted more too often than not. And so I'm going to get off my horse and I am going to introduce our two individuals. So joining us on today, we have Jasmine Reed. She is a poet for the people. I love that. She's going to have to drop some words for us today. And she's also a professor, and I think she was teaching a little while ago. And so we're glad that she's able to join us. She's also a community organizer based in Brooklyn, New York, where all happens. That's its own state, y'all. So if y'all didn't know, Brooklyn, New York is its own state. Okay. Through her work in higher education and grassroots organizing, Jasmine champions the belief that human needs must be recognized and protected as a human right. And I totally agree. So let's welcome Jasmine to the stage while I introduce our next person. Hey. And that's Bedawi. I hope I said that correctly. He gave me the head nod. Yay. Okay, so he is a senior software engineer. He's an athlete. And I'm going to ask you, last night there was something that happened. So, I don't know if you watched the game, but New York City is on the map now. We're getting back on the map. He's also an artist and dedicated community organizer since relocating to New York. Has worked alongside organizations focused on community empowerment, social justice, and liberation movements rooted in dignity, safety, and self-determination for all. I feel like that was a pledge of allegiance. Welcome. Welcome to the stage. How you doing?
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Welcome. So first and foremost, how do y'all feel about the Knicks winning last night?
I can jump in. Hi, thank you so much, Athenia. So lovely to be here, and to everyone who's watching. Such an honor to be on this stage. Yeah, and I actually were watching the Knicks game together last night, and we felt great about it. We were very excited. It was a room full of like a lot of New York pride. There was one person I think who was rooting for the Spurs, but they were very overpowered.
Yeah, they lost that battle in more ways than one.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that you all were together. I got to celebrate. I'm looking forward to being in New York myself in a couple of days so that I can feel the energy, because this is energy that has not been felt in a very long time.
Yeah, you can see it.
Exactly. It's something that I feel like New York really needs right now. And we need something to overshadow the other F word that a lot of the city is like, with FIFA. But it's going to be a lot of energy happening. So we got Juneteenth, we got FIFA, we got Knicks, because we're going to take the win. I'm proclaiming that for sure. And we're going to have this parade and all of those things. As long as the parade doesn't happen on Juneteenth.
That would be wrong of them to do that.
That would be very wrong. So
That would be wrong.
we're working the city. We've been having conversations with the mayor's office, and we're on an understanding. And they're going to do everything in their power. I said, no, I need you to make sure it doesn't happen. That's all. But welcome to the Juneteenth Lunch and Learn. I would like to start off with just giving a little bit of an overview of who you are and kind of what got you into the work that y'all are doing. And then we're going to jump into talking about your organization that y'all are representing. Who wants to start us off? Jasmine, you want to start us off, ladies first?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so how I got here, I think, I mean, much of what kind of like moved me into this work is the experience of the continued struggle for black people to achieve like full dignity and control over our lives and our destinies and our communities. I was in college when Michael Brown was killed, and that really, from that point, I was at protests really every week, and I felt this surge of power, of both anger, but also like a commitment to building and transforming our world, so that to like stop the killing of our people in these terrible and unjust ways. And as mass movements do, the mass movement ebbed, and we were left with like, okay, well, how do we build in a durable and sustainable way such that we have the power to make sure that our people, our kids, our communities, both like have what they need, and then also aren't subject to police violence and terror. And so that really, for that, I was like, you got to be organized. You got to join in an organization. No one person, no one small group of people can bring about the change that we need. And so, really, for the past, I guess 12 years, I've been a part of movements. I've been a part of organizations, and it's really, in the kind of love for our community that's brought me to working and organizing in Ocean Hill-Brownsville, particularly, and I want to get too ahead of the presentation coming, but
Yeah.
a community that has such a rich and powerful history of struggling for dignity for its young people, in particular. So yeah, I'll pause
Yeah.
there and pass it over to
Thank you. Before you go, Jasmine, thank you for even bringing up. I mean, that was one of the most disheartening times, I think, for us in community. We are already going through COVID, and like I said, I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys, and having to have the conversation with at the time he was probably 10 or 11 years old, and I'm sitting here, and so I have a 11-year-old, and then I have like a 5-6-year-old, and I'm like 12 and 6, and we're sitting there and we're having a conversation with them about what's going on in the world, and having a conversation with them about if a police officer ever stops you, you have to just comply completely to whatever it is, and you have to be this and you have to be that. And even having conversations with some of our white counterpart friends and them not understanding, like, why do you have to have that kind of conversation with your child? And I'm like, because this is why we have to have these conversations. This is like a rites of passage conversation that unfortunately we as Black parents have to have with our Black children, and not just the men anymore, because the females are also being attacked as well. But so I just wanted to because as you were saying that, it just reminded me of that moment and how frustrated I was that I had to have that conversation with my little boys. Like, they couldn't be innocent, they couldn't be kids, that we had to have these conversations. So I'm gonna pass it off to you all.
Yeah, I mean, I think my story is honestly very similar. I think I've always, found myself as somebody who's like an empathetic person, and like I'm moved by the struggles of other people since I was like young. But it wasn't until 2020 for me that I really, I always thought of myself as a political person, like, I follow politics and whatnot, but it wasn't until 2020 and seeing, the killing of George Floyd and kind of especially the reaction to the mass movement afterwards, like the force that people were met with in the streets just for saying like, this is wrong. That's really what was like, I need to, not just think politically, but begin to act politically. And, for me, it started out like with a lot of reading, you know, find answers. And eventually I got to a point where all the people that I looked up to in history, people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, like these great, organizers in their own right, but they all had in common, they were all part of some organization. And so, I really wanted to embody that and looked for like an organization that I could be a part of to not just say the right things, but actually do the right things and help build the kind of power that Jasmine was talking about. And that's how I, find myself here. We will get into like the actual organization itself in a little bit, but that was kind of my, what brought me forward to the point of wanting to organize and do this work.
Yeah, and I love that. And, because my children were so young, I mean, literally I had a baby as well during that time. I was frustrated that I couldn't go into the streets like I wanted to, because I was like, for the fear, like I literally was like, I want to be out in the streets. And I'm like, I saw my ancestors like bringing their little kids and being out in the streets and seeing them get watered holes down and gas and all of these things. And I was like, do I want to put my kids in that? Like, do like just the fear of not the unknowing of what could possibly. So we started doing protests online, and we were using YouTube and Instagram, and we got together a group of moms of all colors to do workshops and trainings and to read books together and to do all of those things. So I say that to say that there are more than one way for us to all show up and to be in community. And I love the fact that you all and those who were able to go out into the streets and be present physically, that they represented a multitude. I felt like each one of them was like 10,000 people. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I know you all have a slide if y'all want to bring that up, and we can go jump into the slide and then we can come back and we can do some more questions.
Yeah, that sounds great. The slide is up, so I think we can get it shared. There we go. I'll pass it to you, Jasmine, to kind of kick us off on this presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And just one note, I am just in a break between classes, so I will have to hop off closer to 12:30, but I will be able to stay on and answer questions. And I look forward to continuing to see and build with you all in an ongoing way, which relates to this project. So the Ocean Hill-Brownsville Freedom Center is the name of the organization that we wanted to talk about today. A new project. And to go into a bit about it, I can read. So the Ocean Hill-Brownsville Freedom Center is a new member-based organization dedicated to building working class power in Brooklyn, New York. We are a hub for community members to convene and build collective projects that tangibly improve our lives. And the Freedom Center, like the Freedom Center, that name is also comes from the freedom schools, like the Mississippi Freedom Schools during the civil rights movement. Our mission is to facilitate grassroots community organizing that takes a whole community approach to improving the insufficient conditions that plague our lives as working people. So really, building power around like what are the issues that we're commonly feeling and facing, and how do we build the power to actually transform those conditions, to make them better, but ultimately to transform them entirely. And so a bit of what we do, and then we'll go into some examples. So our members and volunteers lead free community programming, political education, and nonpartisan local campaigns. So campaigns that aren't around like electing someone into office, but say a campaign to lower grocery prices, a campaign to get more funding for the schools in the community, or more funding for resources for young people, things like that. and free community programs. So we lead free and fun activities for young people. We know that like our young people are like the not only the future, but they're the present, right? And when young people don't have resources, when they don't have the means to live in safety and health and dignity, that dramatically like worsens all of our lives, right? In a myriad of ways, and including when we think about like the roots of violence in the community and crime and things like that. A lot of it can be drawn down to like a lack of care and a lack of resources for young people. And I don't mean care from the community, but care under the economic system that we live of capitalism. And so these are some examples: arts and crafts, boxing classes, free haircuts, summer programming, which brings us to Juneteenth and more. Also host Serve the People programs that are really taking up the inspiration and the tradition from the Black Panthers, who like had their office in the community at Herzl and Sutter. And so things like acupuncture, grocery giveaways, block parties as well.
Can I
Let's see.
ask a question just about
Yeah.
the block parties? Because this is something that, why do you feel like block parties are important as in this space? Like, what makes that an important focus for you all?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, block parties are a space where we come together as a community and really take over our streets. And we say this street is for us to come together, to be together. We can break bread, and we can also like have rich conversations about the state of our community, what we love about it, what we're proud of, and also like what we want to change, what we want to move and shake. And so um, last summer, we supported a block party at the Rockaway stop on the sea, where we did a partner with House of Skills Barbershop to do a free back to school drive for the kids as they were going heading into the school year, where we gave out school supplies and also free food. We're able to source food from local restaurants in the neighborhood, and to talk about like the 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 issues facing our young people or what we want to do about it. So I think block parties are it's like a way of like I guess I said already, but coming together, being in a kind of celebration, and then also um, channeling that energy in a positive way forward. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. The only reason why I ask is because a lot of people are always liking to, oh, y'all, all y'all do is like to have fun, and I'm like, yeah, but there's a rhyme and a reason. Like the fact that we get to come together and just being in space together helps us to think up higher, think of things that we can do better. Just the collaborative mind, and it's like we enjoy having fun because we don't get to have that. We're so burdened most times with all of the things of the world that this is a space that we get to not be focused so much on all of the burdens that we carry and just be present. So thank you for sharing that.
100%. I totally agree. And so the photos actually on the screen on the left, that's from the back to school block party that we co-hosted with House of Skills. And then on the right is we hosted a Black August summer fair where we gave out free books to the community. And then we also did free ear acupuncture and an ear acupuncture technique that was pioneered by the Black Panther Party and the Young Lords around treating addiction in a way that didn't create more dependency on other drugs, but also it just generally helps with like people to process trauma and stress and to like to just be present and to feel good in their bodies. This is more another acupuncture clinic that we've led all free, and that we will actually we'll have an acupuncture tent at Juneteenth. So if you're out, yeah, you should come and get some free ear acupuncture from Danny, who's on the screen, and then Joss, who are both licensed acupuncturists. And then we've also, so this is an example of youth programming or actually full family programming. So at the school PS21, Crispus Attucks, we co-hosted with House of Skills Barbershop a family night where we had free haircuts for the kids, free crafts. The kids like painted the banner that you see in the back, which says strong schools, safe streets. And yeah, we had boxing, basketball, and then we did a community visioning activity around basically what are you proud of in the community, and if you had the power, what project would you build? Um, yeah, go to the next slide. Um, this is what I was saying earlier about the freedom schools. So that's where we draw our name, and we understand that education is so important. Free education programs that bring together the immense knowledge of the community. We seek to expand what we see as possible for our lives and futures. We are committed to youth empowerment, leadership development, and celebrating the culture and creativity of Ocean Hill-Brownsville. We offer organizing trainings and workshops, art classes, tutoring, and language learning. So if you go to the next slides, this is some examples. In the bottom, there was like a know your rights training that we did around like, what are your rights if you are stopped by a police officer? And then on the right, there is a free toy and coat drive that we hosted also at House of Skills. To give a couple of examples. And then local campaigns. So taking up, these are, as I'll just read, take up local nonpartisan campaigns to win and improve the conditions in our neighborhoods, from our workplaces, schools, and residential buildings to the small businesses, libraries, and parks that make our neighborhood run. So it's about building power and community power to build and make and see the change that we want to see around the issues that we're facing. And so this is us at the House of Skills Barbershop, where they had been experiencing some police harassment. The owner of the House of Skills, Ak, is also like one of the founders of the Ocean Hill-Brownsville Freedom Center. He is on the community board now, and he, is like really like the love for his community for our community is boundless. And was formerly incarcerated, and he came home and he was like, I want to dedicate my life to like, serving my community. And so the House of Skills holds so many community programs, and they also really mostly employ other formerly incarcerated members of our community, and they are targeted and harassed by the police. And so we held a community rally, basically all power to the people, Black Panthers again. But yeah, just like demanding the respect of that space and the respect of our community members to get to live in freedom and peace without being constantly harassed. And then last piece yeah, maybe I'll turn over to Alma in a moment. But so we've also been continuing to build at PS21 Crispus Attucks. So we are building with the parents there. To basically build a food justice program at the school. And so we led some like workshops with the parents on the Black Panther Party Serve the People programs, the free breakfast program for children, which was hosted just around the corner from the school. And now we're building toward a block party in September 12th at PS21. That'll be both a back to school drive and like a free community block free food for the community, and also really like kicking off this food justice program where we're going to be both serving the community but also fighting for food to be more accessible. And under that, my bio said like human needs being human rights. We believe that food should be treated as a human right, not as a thing for like corporations to like gouge our communities over. And so we're going to continue building with the parents at PS21. We're doing another Know Your Rights training at House of Skills, hopefully this weekend. And we are so thrilled and excited to be a part of Juneteenth, hosting a a wide range of programming from acupuncture, self-defense classes. We're going to be giving out free books, doing more like what do you want to win in your neighborhood style community workshops. I think I mentioned acupuncture, and yoga, and other things that I'll let talk about. And then we're also building toward a community event at Broadway Junction Park called Function at the Junction, um, big block party, in response to basically putting forward community responses to violence in the community. We know there's been instances recently where young children have been shot, in like gang related violence, and so we want to come together and talk about what are community solutions to violence in the community, at the Broadway Junction Park. And then we have the block party at PS 21 in the fall. Yeah, so some things that we're really excited about. I have to hop off to go to my next class, but one thing I just want to stress, and I'll kick it over to but that this is a member-based organization, so it's not a thing where we're coming in and saying like, well, we're gonna do these things, like we're gonna make these things happen, but it's like, what can we as a community collectively make happen? What do we collectively want? And so it's an organization that people can join. People can volunteer. They can become formal like members of the organization. And yeah, I'll pass it over to But one thing that I will share with him before as I leave is our online interest form. So if you want to learn more about our work, if you want to volunteer, if you are interested in becoming a member, we'll drop a link for you to sign up. Thank y'all so much for having me. I'm so sorry I have to run and leave
Jasmine, can
short,
you
but
just answer quickly, what does
yes.
Juneteenth mean to you before you leave?
Oh, Juneteenth means to me. Juneteenth means to me the celebration of the ways that like Black people have and will continue to fight for our not only our liberation from slavery, but the full right to have control over our lives and our destinies and our communities, and that the fight is ongoing. And just like we won our freedom from slavery, we will win the right to determine our lives, and we will, and that fight is also connected to the fight for all people to be able to determine our lives freely. Um, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jasmine. I look forward to seeing you on the 20th and probably before then, but thank you so much. I
My
appreciate it.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Adenia.
All right,
See you, Jasmine.
All right. So talk to us a little bit about the membership for the program. Is there a fee to be a member, or is there a prerequisite? Like, do you have to have done certain work in the community, or talk to us. What are some of the things that are I guess requirements, or are there any to be a member?
The only real requirement is that you have a desire to, improve your neighborhood. And that's really all it is to it. I mean, this is an organization that is not, it's not, there's no fee. There's no, like, we're looking for people who meet these certain criteria. It's really a place for the community to come together in an organized way and talk about the issues that impact all of us on a day-to-day, and impact, and are things that like people who are part of the organization want to come together with neighbors to work on. And as long as that is what speaks to you, then this is the perfect place for anybody in the community to be.
Thank you. And how often do you all get together? How often are your meetings? Like, what is the commitment to be a member?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we're right now in the process of building this up more and more. So, right now we're gathering as many interested people and members that we can, like people who this project speaks to them. And then kind of like the regular cadence of meetings and the regular structure of like, this is how often we'll meet. We're going to be meeting. This is how often we're going to be, this is what the commitment looks like. We'll grow out of like what the membership is able to really do. But for now, it's held down by a core group of organizers who, alongside with Ak, which we mentioned a couple times in the presentation, who's a co-founder of this organization, it's a core group that is the foundation for building this up. But as soon as we get the membership to, be of a bigger size, then those kind of like regular meetings of, the community really kind of driving it will happen. And that's really why right now we're, if it is something that speaks to you and you're interested in work, doing this kind of work, don't feel like, oh, I have all these other things I can't commit to it. You should just, come through and even if you just come to one meeting and say, these are my issues and these are my ideas, that's an incredible contribution to the organization and to the community.
I appreciate that. As Jasmine was sharing, she talked a lot about Black Panthers and how a lot of the things that you all do are likened to them. Can you share what has been, I guess, your reasoning for the correlation?
Yeah, the Black Panthers are just an incredible historical example of what it means to really build and win alongside community, because they didn't just, kind of like what Jasmine said, this is not an organization where somebody comes in and say, these are the issues and these are the things we're going to do. It really comes out of what the community is feeling. It's driven by the community itself, and it is driven by what the community at large feels. And I think that was a core model of how the Panthers operated. They were and saw themselves as the community. They embedded themselves in the community. They helped to train up the youth. They served the people of the community. At the same time that they were giving out food, they were doing political education. They really saw their role as the place where the community can come to be organized and to fight for its rights and its liberation. So that is kind of the same vision that this organization has. And there's a really, there's a real history of the area of Ocean Hill-Brownsville where the organization is like has grown out of and is doing a lot of work, is also a big area where the Panthers were organizing themselves. So there's like these natural overlaps and like historical connections that make it, it's only right that we see ourselves as wanting to, embody that kind of vision, because they really had the right type of vision on what we should be doing as a community.
Yeah. And funny. So one of the members of the community shared authentic partnerships and lasting impact is definitely the new flex. And I totally agree. Can you share some, and I know you all are partnering with us and we're very grateful and looking forward to beyond just the Juneteenth festival, how we might be able to tie together some of the events and activate and support each other in a multitude of ways. Last night, we had Jenna come and speak to our volunteers, our volunteer team, and pretty much just let them know, like, hey, beyond this, there are other opportunities that we're going to be calling on you. So we have been naturally trying to expand our collective reach. So I'm really excited about that because as y'all were talking, I'm like, yep, we do that and we do that. So we have a partnership with Bard High School. So the school that you all are in, I think is elementary school. Is that our middle school?
Yeah, PS 21. Yeah, elementary school. Yeah.
Okay. So now it seems like us joining forces. Now we're gonna have to find a middle school that we're gonna have to connect to so we can bring a full circle. But we do similarly. We've been doing like leadership programming. We've been doing workshops and trainings. We've been talking to our students and the parents about First Amendment rights and understanding what our rights are, especially in this climate right now. So a lot of the things that you were just sharing that y'all are doing at Christmas Addicts, we're doing at Bard High School. And so I'm like, again, another just one of those another levels of connections and confirmation that, you know, we're definitely in the same place. We're on the same line and of growing our community, starting with our young ones first and growing them, you know, and then tapping into the parents as we're there. So I would love to be able to get connected so that we can have some of those workshops held at part as well, that you'll do, and even see how we might be able to do some of what we're doing over at Christmas Addicts. So that can be another level of programming to the families and to the communities. So I wanted to ask a couple of questions. I had a couple of questions, and we've totally gone all over the place, but this has been still very good content. What role does culture play in strengthening the community, do you feel?
That's a really good question. You know, culture is culture is really important. It is like the way that people understand the world that they live in, and it's the way that they understand their, their connection to it. And I think like culture is something that is real. It's a real avenue by which like people understand politics as well, and what it means to like create a world that what it means to actually like impact the world. And I think like being able to combine cultural events and cultural like elements in the kind of like organizing and political work that we do is huge. Like even at like Juneteenth, there's a big overlap between the cultural impact of what Juneteenth means for people and also the political side of what it means for like liberation. Those things go hand in hand with each other.
Absolutely.
And so that just helps. I think it just helps for people to really understand things in their worldview when you're able to speak to the cultural sides of things. And so like it also, when you're able to really connect culture and political organizing in a meaningful way, I think it helps do exactly what the mission of Juneteenth NY is. It's like stronger together. It helps really tie people in community with one another as well. So culture is huge, and like all aspects of culture is super huge. Like the way like you can connect music to organizing and politics is huge. The way that you can connect art is huge, and all these things speak to people on a different level. So it's always something to be really mindful of and not think of them as like you have your cultural stuff over here and you have your community organizing stuff over here. It's like one in the whole. And that is, definitely a thing I see Juneteenth as focusing on. This Juneteenth festival that's coming up, I think really does a good job of emphasizing that. And, at the Ocean Hill-Brownsville Freedom Center, that's also something that we want as a connection. The culture and the organizing are one and the same.
So let me ask you now, let me go a little bit deeper with that.
Let's get deeper.
When I ask you what is, because this is a conversation that my husband and I always have, right? Because there, especially in our community, there are inherent challenges when we answer this question. When I ask you, what is your culture? What is your response?
I mean, I'm a Black American. I'm also a Sudanese, son of Sudanese immigrants. So I'm also Sudanese, African. So, and then, there's also the religious aspect to it too. Like I'm Muslim. And so that really informs my type of thinking. But, I think like each of these different elements plays into how I see the world. And I think what's beautiful about like that question is that I have my lists of like these are what the things that make up my cultural outlook. But there's a really deep connection between like all these different cultures in terms of how unified we are in struggle. So like the freedom of like the freedom that I want to see for like people in Sudan, my home country, is really connected to the type of freedom that I want to see for people in Hill-Brownsville and for people in Brooklyn. You know, it's like this. We all are uplifted together when you know when like these different, because a lot of these different struggles are connected. You know, like the same. You know, you were talking about police violence being a really big like thing for you and like being very deep for you. It's like the same kind of violence that we feel here in Brooklyn. There's very similar types of violence for similar reasons that, you know, I feel in that I see happen in Sudan. So for me, like, you know, my culture is a mix of a lot of different things. I know you have your answer. If I were to ask you, I know you would have your list of what makes your culture. And I know there's going to be some similarities, what I said, but there's probably going to be some differences. But what's beautiful about that is like, you know, we still are here in the same place, struggling for the same kind of thing in our community. You know, we want to see our community free. And I think like that to me is like an incredibly beautiful thing about doing this kind of work.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, first of all, and for bringing it together. Something that you mentioned, and I didn't write it down, but you were saying, I forget what it was, but you mentioned something that I was just like, oh yeah, that definitely. Oh, how we experience our different cultures, or what we kind of share as part of our culture. And I'm like, yeah, that definitely is something to add to like my list of what culture is. I feel like every time I ask that question of individuals, I get something else to kind of add to my totem, because like when I first started, you know, the conversation with us, I was like, you know, Brooklyn is its own culture, right? Say like because when you go up to the Bronx or you go to Queens, like it's different. Like it's not you like, oh y'all, you from Queens, like you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But when you come up higher, when you come out of, I mean, I don't know. I live in Georgia now, but even here, I'm still like Brooklyn. But people, I'm like, you know, my husband wears his Brooklyn hat, Brooklyn everything hat. So people like, oh, you from New York City, kind of thing. So, you know, there's the Brooklyn, that's a culture in itself. There's the New York, that's a culture in itself. And then some of those more like finite ones that we identify with, that we kind of grew up with. But I'm like, all of it is culture, because all of it defines the lens in which we operate and how we see the world and how we engage, conversations that we have, what we talk about, how the commonalities, as you were just talking about, like what are the commonalities between and you know, but this just something just came into my spirit is like, I need to do a series of workshops where I am encouraging people to see the similarities that we all share in across all rooms. I have a couple of speaking engagements. So thank you. I just want to say thank you for that, because that just sparked something in me, because I'm constantly talking about Umoja unity, and this gives me an opportunity to allow people to see physically how our cultures are on one accord, right? So thank you for that. And yeah, so I'll definitely be giving you a shout out as I go into speak.
I'm glad to have contributed to your speaking series. I'm so glad.
And I share that. Well, as we are coming to the close, and this has been a great session, and being able to just learn a little bit more about the Brownsville Center, and all of the things that you all are doing, and how we're going to be connecting more and more. So we're definitely looking forward to that. I'm going to ask you, just like I asked Jasmine, what does Juneteenth mean to you?
Wow, you know, you would think that, you know, I had so much time to think about it after Jasmine left that the answer would just be ready. But it's just such a good question. I think like Juneteenth is just it's such a moment of like, there's such a feeling of unity and kind of like inspiration around what we can achieve when we're like together and when we fight as one. And to me, it's all about like, how do we as Black people in this country, in this world, continue that fight, to continue to be free, because we have made some wins in the past for sure. But there's still a lot of wins to be made so that we can really have a kind of self-determination that we want to see, that we can really have the ability to determine what we want in our lives. So, I think to me, Juneteenth it serves that kind of inspirational push of that when you fight and you're united together, you can win. Also, that means we have a responsibility to do that. It's one thing to know that we can do that thing, but we actually have to get out there and do it. And so, to me, that's exactly what I think of when I think of Juneteenth, and I'm excited to keep talking about that at when I see you on June 20th.
Absolutely. Get out there and win. Let's do this together. I appreciate you so much for joining, and for Jasmine as well, and the rest of your team, how you all have been showing up in so many different ways. So thank you. And if I don't get to see them specifically, please let them know in your next meeting. Thank you from me to them. I see that we dropped a link in the chat. So those who are interested in joining, please see the link in the chat. Please go and register. You can also go to the Instagram page. What is the Instagram page?
Yeah, I'm sending some links here.
Okay. So James will post that up as I close out. So I appreciate that, and how to get in contact with you all. The email ohbv freedomcenter@gmail.com. So that if you have any questions, and do you all have a website by any chance?
Not a website yet, but we have a Facebook and Instagram and an email that I think is being posted in the comments. But
got it.
You can reach us at any one of those places. And I just want to really thank you so much for inviting me and Jasmine to talk with you. I mean, this is the first time I actually got to meet you. I've heard of you and I've seen your work, but this is the first time really getting to meet you and talk to you, and it's been a real pleasure. And I know for Jasmine, it's been a great pleasure as well. So really, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And we appreciate you. And we look forward to seeing you all in a couple of days, 16 days to kick off. So, and we're going to have some events coming up beforehand. So I know Kelly will reach out to give y'all some of the details. So I appreciate that. And I'll see you backstage as I close us out.
All right. I'll see you.
Yes. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope that this was rich. I hope that you got something that you were able to walk away from this experience, learning, hearing, a change in thought, a change in ideology. Any of those things is always, my glasses broke, y'all. That's why I keep trying to. So I'm going to go get it fixed before I come to New York though. But as you see, I love to be fun. I love to be natural. Like, this is who we are in our community. And it's not about being so pristine that you don't show that you are a real person. And that is part of what makes us human, right? We are real people. We're not robots, and we do all cut and bleed and do all of those things in between. We all have feelings. And that's one of those things, that culture piece that we were just talking about, that ties us together, the culture of humanity. And so I'm just thankful for relationships and partnerships. That's all I've been talking about on my Instagram on the last couple of days, just with even challenges with being able to put together an event with thousands of people coming into one space. It cannot be done by one person alone. It can only be done with community. And so we look forward to you joining us in community on June the 20th for our festival day. We also have an opportunity for you to join us for our Black King celebration. This is our space where we are our fundraiser. This is a gala. So this is an opportunity for you to get dressed up to the nines, to put on your gowns, your dresses, your suits, your bow ties, what all it is. Because so many times, again, we were talking about the being out and doing block parties and stuff like that. But very few times do we actually get to come together and get dressed up. And we get to highlight our men, another space, our men who are the crux of our communities, whether we want to say it or believe it to be true. They are our protectors. And so we are always encouraging them and the work that they're doing in the community. And let me tell you, 100% of the men that we honor, they are phenomenal brothers. And when we contacted them, they was like, is this a joke? Because they didn't believe that they deserved it, because they're just doing the work that they do normally in the community. And that just meant that much more to me, because that means that they deserve it, right? They're not doing this for the accolades. They're not doing this because they want to get something. They're doing this because this is who they are, and it is necessary for our community. So come out and support them. Come out and have a good time. It will be a full 4-course meal that you will receive. And some great fun, some great entertainment. We have a poetess, we have a live musician, we have a DJ, my husband, DJ Basic, who will be in the building. And just grand time, great energy, and great networking. So tickets are only $150. We look forward to you join us. And the proceeds go to helping us put together more events like our festival, and to do more things like giving back to our community, like we have talked about today. So please go to our website, juneteenthny.com. Again, my name is Athenia Rodney with Juneteenth NYC, and I am glad to have you all with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
You need a full-time job for health insurance is actually a myth. As a travel nurse in New York, I used to get so stressed out about health insurance in between contracts until I found out about New York State of Health. They make it easier, more affordable, and are a trusted resource to accessing and managing your health insurance. And what's great is that there's a plan for everyone. And enrollment assisters and brokers are here to help online, by phone, or even help in person. So check out New York State of Health to learn more and stay up to date on your health insurance needs.
So it's no secret that New York City is the best place to be an entrepreneur, but when I had to figure out my own health insurance for the very first time, I was scared. I live with MS, which means taking care of my health is already something that I manage every single day, so navigating insurance on my own felt very overwhelming. What helped was learning about New York State of Health, which is the official health plan marketplace for New York State, where New Yorkers can shop for and enroll in health insurance, compare options, and get free help from real enrollment assisters or brokers online, by phone, or in person. If you're self-employed, starting out, or just figuring things out, there is a plan for all New Yorkers and support to help you through it.
Life changes, and so can your health plan. New York State of Health is New York's official health plan marketplace and is where I go to check my coverage and make sure it still fits my family's needs. Plans, benefits, and eligibility can change, so it's important to stay up to date. Be sure to keep your contact information updated in your account so New York State of Health knows how to reach you. Visit newyorkstateofhealth.ny.gov to stay connected and stay covered.